Hi, I'm James from Gear4music, and I'm really pleased to have Adam Wakeman here with us in the studio because we're going to be looking at the new Kawai ES60. This is brand new from Kawai. So Adam, tell us about it. What's it all about?
Well, I mean, it's just a brilliant piano. The sound, the touch, the feel, everything about it is superb. Whether you're a beginner or you're a hobbyist or you're playing in a kind of group situation, it's just a great all-round piano.
It looks fantastic, and this is a new price point for Kawai as well, isn't it? This is a kind of a new thing.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a new venture for them. As you said, this price point, it's what kind of makes it perfect if you're a beginner and you want something that's weighted, something that's got really good action. The tone is really great. They know a bit about making great sounds. You know, they're responsible for building some of the best concert grand pianos in the world, so they've got a good place to start when they're making these things. And yeah, it's a great keyboard.
Great. I mean, so I work in the shop at Gear4music, and one of the things, it's probably the most asked question that we get is either my child's just started learning piano, or I used to learn piano years ago and I haven't played for years, and all I want is something that does piano really, really well. 88 keys, fully weighted, sounds really great, doesn't take up too much space, with a sort of a relatively limited budget. And this just feels like it fits that category perfectly.
Yeah, I think part of the problem that a lot of companies, they put too much stuff into the machine. I mean, for me, it's about finding something that does what you need brilliantly. So I don't necessarily want a piano that has a million things going on and accompaniment tracks and all the rest of it. I want it to sound brilliant, because if it sounds brilliant, you want to play it for longer. So if you're, learning to play, or you're coming back to playing piano after a long period of time where you've been, busy working and raising kids or whatever, you want to sit down and be connected to it. Because if you're not, you're not going to get better, and you're just going to stop playing. So you need to be comfortable and feel like you're kind of at one with the piano. And if it sounds bad, you're just going to not want to sit there.
So on the sound front, you've got 20-watt speakers, as I understand it, and you've also got a line out. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. So if you're in a studio and you want to record or plug into an amplifier, you can do that. I believe it's the only piano in its class that has the line outs. Speakers are plenty loud enough if you want to play with a group in a rehearsal situation or a small gig, or at home. It's loud enough to be to feel like you're actually playing a piano, as opposed to kind of just trying to hear what it sounds like.
Sure. And the headphone socket's on the front, which is nice, easy access.
Yeah, again, that's kind of something that always bugs me, where manufacturers put the headphones on the back of a product. It's a really simple thing, and those kind of little changes just make it a lot more accessible.
Lovely. Yeah. And in terms of polyphony, what are we working with?
192, I believe. So if you're lucky enough to have more than 10 fingers, then that's good. But that does mean that when you're playing a lot of parts, then you're not having notes dropping out when you're playing. So that's, again, it's a really kind of a really important thing that makes you want to play it more. If you were starting to hear notes dropping out, it will be frustrating.
Yeah, of course. It kind of adds to that realism as well of playing an acoustic piano.
Of course,
where notes don't drop out.
Exactly.
And in terms of sounds, what have we got?
So we've got the Shigeru SK-EX piano sample. So Unlike a lot of pianos where they sample select notes and then recreate them electronically, every note is sampled from their piano. So you have a very true recreation of their grand piano. So it's important. If the sound is right, you want to play it for longer and you want to sit there for longer, it means you're going to get better.
And are you able to split sounds across the keyboard or layer them on top of each other?
Yeah, both. You can split and layer, so you can mix two sounds together. Again, it just makes it's a very simple thing, but very effective. So you can put some strings with the piano, for example, or layer the strings with an EP, and it just adds to your kind of potential creativity if you can kind of just mix the sounds up.
And we've got a metronome here as well. Important for practice?
Very much so. And it's kind of, there are two sort of schools of thought with practicing with a metronome. Personally, when I was beginning to play, it was incredibly important for me with classical piano, just because the scales, I wanted to kind of get better with the sort of precision and the timing. Later on, you tend to not use the metronome so much because you lose perhaps some of the feel with playing. So you wouldn't necessarily play with the metronome, but for practicing, it's vital.
And the key action, fully weighted, is that right?
It's fully weighted. It's graded weighted key action, so it's heavier down at the bottom end, lighter at the top end. One of the reasons that I think Kawai have got this right is because they have, nearly 100 years of experience making real acoustic pianos, some of the best concert grands in the world. So they can draw on that to make it feel as authentic as you can do. And I think that's evident with this.
Absolutely, yeah. And the keys have a sort of slightly matte feel to them. That's an intentional feature, right?
It is, yeah, because, it's a really obvious thing, but a lot of manufacturers miss out on this. When you've got glossy keys, your fingers can slip off them. Even the best pianists might get nervous, sweaty hands. You've got friends round in your living room or doing a small concert somewhere. And the matte keys just give you a little bit more kind of less likely to slip off the keys.
Sure, just a bit of grip, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a really useful feature. And again, that all helps your confidence as a beginner or somebody that's coming back to playing piano. It's kind of, you need to build that confidence, and anything to aid making less mistakes is going to be a good thing and make you want to play longer.
Absolutely, yeah. And in terms of connections, we've got sustained pedal input, USB. Does the USB take MIDI as well?
USB MIDI, yes.
Fantastic. That's always very useful. And we mentioned about the line out, headphone out.
Yes.
All the useful features, and a lovely music rest.
Exactly, which is essential, whether it's with an iPad on there or old school analog sheet music.
I've not heard of that. So in terms of what you get, you've got the keyboard, which is lovely with the music rest and pedal, but the stand is separate. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. The stand is an add-on, and it's as you can see, it's very minimal and looks great.
It's beautiful, yeah.
In your house or on stage.
But the keyboard will sit on any stand.
Yes, yeah, it will. Yeah, it will do, and it's 11 kilograms, which is again another really forgotten thing with manufacturers is they make these things so heavy. If you are a musician where you're going to a rehearsal or something and you just want to chuck it under your arm, you can do that. It weighs about the same as a small dog. Or, I believe, a fifth of the weight of a newborn giraffe.
I'm not going to ask how you know that. Lovely. And are there any other features that we haven't touched upon?
There's some drum patterns in there to play along to, which is again really really useful once you get your confidence up and you want to start sort of practicing with a backing track. Along with the metronome, it's a brilliant piece of kit.
Lovely, and you've got transpose there as well.
Oh, no, that is really useful, especially if you're working with, for example, a singer and the key is too high, so you need to drop the key rather than have to relearn something really quickly on the fly. Then you can just use the transpose feature, drop it down a semitone or a tone or whatever. And also useful if you're playing with brass players, where often the keys of B flat and E flat are, more comfortable for brass instruments, whereas maybe, you're more comfortable playing in C or the sort of, a different key. Then you can do that on the fly and not be panicking about having to relearn something in a different key.
I mean, I am a tuba player and I can confirm that we are very, very fussy when it comes to our key signatures.
Yeah.
And there's the Kawai piano remote as well.
That's right, yeah. It connects via USB and gives you just a lot more control over all the features.
Lovely. And that's an app for iPads and that kind of phone?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. iPad, plug it in, and then, just gives you a bit more control on that, on the app.
Lovely. So who should be looking at this sort of thing? Where is it kind of aimed at?
I mean, it's perfect for beginners, hobbyists, and then people returning to the piano. So people that have had a long period of time away from learning the instrument. So it just fits with that group of people perfectly, because for all the reasons we've mentioned, it feels like a piano, it sounds like a piano, and it just makes you want to play longer.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much, Adam. It's been lovely having you here. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe. If you've got any questions, please leave those in the comments, and we'll see you next time.